Hey, this is Jeff with Builder's Edge, and this is a Know Before You Go video on a F115 Yamaha show. It's a 2020 model. Beautiful motor. Came in for its first annual service today, and I want to mention a couple things about the annual service. That's really important to get the first one done, especially if you are boating in salt water. What happens is when you do the annual, you drop the gear case and the impeller's up here. But if you don't get the service done within the first like 2 years or 3 years, these bolts right here, there's a hole that they travel through that thread into the midsection. They'll fill up with corrosion, and then the gear case doesn't want to come off, and then we have to heat and beat to try to get your gear case off, and I hate doing that on something that's new like this. So this one unfortunately came apart. It stuck a little bit, but then moving forward we grease all the bolts so it won't happen again. So moving forward, so it's important to get the first service done. Just some things on this one for the owner. Yellow is always oil on these Yamahas. The first time you check the dipstick, when you pull it, it's gonna like almost look like there's no oil on the dipstick, and if you put it back in and check again, you'll see that the oil level comes back, and what happens is you get some like pressure that builds up in the cavity where the oil dipstick goes through, and it just pushes the oil out of that cavity. That's all. So make sure when you're checking a Yamaha that you check it a couple times before you declare anything. Also on this guy, you've got some cool things. So you have a water separating filter. You have one on the boat. You have the big Yamaha canister style, and then you have this smaller one right here that has a float in it. That's an electric one that will give you a warning if you get water into your fuel system, and that way if you do, you can address it right away. That's a serious warning, even though the engine may still be running, because once it gets past that filter and gets into the VST tank, which is located right here, that's the high pressure fuel pump tank, vapor separating tank. Once it gets in there, then we have to pull all the intake off and pull that tank down to clean it and get everything back normal again, if it doesn't do damage to the fuel pump. So that's one way to avoid costly repairs. Also, running good fuel. You know, the manufacturers that you can run the ethanol blend fuels. Just from experience, what happens, especially here in Florida, super humid, super hot sometimes, the ethanol, which is alcohol, will pull the moisture out of the air and bring it into the fuel. So I highly recommend running rec fuel, ethanol-free fuel. It's readily available. It costs a little bit more, but your engine will run so much better for such a longer time. A couple other little things on this: if you ever get yourself, if you're fishing and get line wrapped around your prop, or if you just get picked up some fishing line, make sure you pull this prop completely off and the thrust washer behind it, and pull that line off, because the seals in there on Yamahas, there's no guard around the seals, so that fishing line will work into the prop shaft seal. And it doesn't matter how old or new the boat is, it'll tear that seal up and potentially let water get into the gear case and gear loop out. So just to avoid some of those things, if you see that you've got fishing line around the prop, get the prop off and get that taken care of, or take this to somebody who can do it for you. One other thing on these motors, what we love to do, and we do this with all our services, is we'll use a quality corrosion protectant, and we use Corrosion X here. That's one we use. It's a little pricey, but it'll keep this motor, if you bring it in service every year, it'll keep this motor looking new for 10-15 years, no problem. It's a really wonderful product. It's non-conductive, so you can kind of spray everything. We've done this one, and it'll leave this like this little oily film on everything, but what it does is it'll keep corrosion that, just even being in the salt air, you'll start building up a little bit of corrosion here and there. It'll just stop all that, and it's just a really good product. There's other ones on the market that are good too, but that's the one we use in the house. And this is Jeff again with a Know Before You Go. Just a couple tips, and beautiful boat, and keep it out there. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.